The Tipping Point with Mike Tipton is brought to you by Dubby. What is Dubby? Dubby is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash, jitters, or angst like those other energy drinks have. They also have no maltodextrin fillers and don't use artificial dyes. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. Dubby's products are made in the USA in an FDA-inspected facility that strictly adheres to GMP manufacturing guidelines. All of the flavors are unique and custom-made by Dubby, and you'll never taste our taste anywhere else. The best part about it is they're affordable. Dubby's drinks come out to about $1 per drink, much cheaper than Starbucks or any of those canned energy drinks. To learn more, visit w.gg.com/discount/MRTipton33 and place your order today. Use promo code MrTipton33 and save today. Dubby Energy, be better. What's going on, everybody? I want to tell you about my new friends over at Cleverman. Visit them online at becleverman.com. What they gave me was the energizing face and beard scrub along with the Cleverman face scrubber. And trust me when I say this, the energizing face and beard scrub smells amazing. Combining it with the face scrubber, making sure that your boy was looking as good and sexy as possible, opened up a whole different sensation in my face that I haven't ever felt before. I felt so clean, so fresh, and so clean, like Outcast said, and it helped me feel like I was ready for my day. Make sure you visit them online at becleverman.com and follow them on Instagram at clevermannyc. The link is up in my bio if you want to check out all the amazing products they have. Visit them online, becleverman.com. It is the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton, hanging out with you here on a Tuesday morning. We are live on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. We are everywhere as far as social media goes. Mostly everywhere as far as social media goes. A few things to talk about here in the world of sports. Not a whole lot going on. So you guys, we're going to treat this week like a TIP VIP week. You got questions, I'll answer them. You got ideas, we'll talk about them. We'll get all that stuff going. Our guy Ray over at Locally Sourced saying good morning. Hope that you were doing well, sir. Remember that I will be live, or not live, but I will be interviewed. I was interviewed by Ray over at Locally Sourced. As soon as I get the link on that, I'll be sharing that out for everyone so that y'all can tune in, see how all that stuff went. It was actually a really fun interview. It's always weird for me being on the other side. As our guy Tommy Cananza tunes in, says, "Good, what's good, Tip? What's good with you, Tommy? Hope that you're having yourself a great time." It's always odd for me being on the other side, like whenever people are like asking questions about me, because I don't find myself to be that interesting. People always tell me that I need to write a book or something like that. I just don't find myself to be that interesting. I also, like, I feel weird talking about myself at times. I'm going to be doing it again. Like, it's weird when people want to interview me, out of all things. Nonetheless, it's okay. We're good. We're having ourselves a good old time. Remember that we are brought to you by our friends over at Crushed Peanuts. Go check them out. You can find them here in El Paso, but check them out online, crushedpeanuts.com. They've got 9 grams of protein, so it's a great supplement to help you with your workout, a great snack to get your day started, all those things that you need to feel better in your weight loss journey, if that's what you want to do. You can get them at Valero's and Chevron's here on the east side of El Paso. If you live elsewhere in El Paso, ask for them, and we will see about getting them out in those locations. But we need the people to ask about Crushed Peanuts, crushedpeanuts.com, so that you can learn more. I always love whenever people don't realize that sports is a business. I always love that. I'm not too sure what it is. Our guy locally sourced DP saying, "Dude, that hat, love this hat." I've got way too many hats. I think I wear a different hat almost every day out of the week. At least I know I can do a different hat every day out of the month. I think that's what I'll do for July episodes. I'll go back and see what I wore last week and make sure that I don't wear those same hats anymore. Ray agreeing with me on life right there. Life principle. You can never have too many hats. I agree 100%. I got the hat that I wore yesterday, the EP hat. Like every year, whenever I get my media credential for the Chihuahuas, I buy a new hat. But I also go around buying a bunch of hats to begin with, or I'll get like a hat sent to me, like our friends over at Flash Shark. You can check out on my YouTube page the install that I did for my headlights, just easy install video that I did for my headlights. I do that. They gave me a hat. They're gonna send me new brake rotors, so that way I can get new brakes on my Mustang. We'll put that video out there as well. That install video out there. It's gonna be a lot different getting an install video, a 3-minute install video with brakes. Nonetheless, we'll get it done. We'll find a way to get it done. But I agree. No such thing as having way too many hats. No such thing as having way too many hats. But I always love these stories whenever you hear guys not remembering that sports is a business at the end of the day. No matter how much we might love it as fans, sports is a business at the end of the day. And Kirk Cousins saying that he got blindsided by the Atlanta Falcons drafting Michael Penix Jr., that he might have re-signed with Minnesota last season had he known the Falcons would have drafted a quarterback in the first round. And for the first time publicly, he goes out and says that he opens up about his feelings in the Netflix series Quarterback. So I'm going to go and I'm going to watch that because today it premiered, this Quarterback series on Netflix. And I've been wanting to watch that. I've been seeing a lot of the ads for it. So I do want to go out and watch Quarterback on Netflix to see what exactly Kirk Cousins said beyond this quote right here, saying, quote, "Certainly, if I had the information around free agency, it certainly would have affected my decision," Cousins said on the first episode of the season, continuing saying, "I had no reason to leave Minnesota with how much we loved it there if both teams were going to be drafting a quarterback high. But I've also learned in 12 years in this league, you are not entitled to anything. It's all about being able to earn your spot and prove yourself." Our dude Bistrilla tuning in. One ass cheek, 3 toes. Hope that you are doing well, my dude. Kirk Cousins opening up. It's a business, right? And one of the things that reminds you that it's a business, I was scrolling through TikTok yesterday, and on Club Shay Shay, there was a clip with Terry Crews, and I don't know how old this tip with Terry Crews was, but Terry Crews was talking about how cold-blooded it was whenever he got cut from the Washington Redskins. I'm going to call them that because that's what they were called at the time, guys. Don't get upset at me. The Bed Haunting Ghost tuning in over on Instagram, along with TMNFAB4. That might be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Fab 4. Great name. And I'm watching this clip, and Terry Crews is talking about how whenever he got let go by the Washington Redskins, I'm guessing in the earlier mid-90s, whenever it was that he got let go by them, that he didn't get to make it to his game checks. And like the game checks is where you get paid. You got 16 weeks, 17 weeks, 18 weeks of getting your game check. That's where your major earning potential comes in. Other than that, you're living off of a couple $100 a week trying to make it to get into the first game of the season. He makes it through all the cuts, makes it onto the 53-man roster. And his first day of practice, as they're getting ready to get to that game day, gets cut. Makes it home. They give him a phone call. Hey, we need you to come back to the stadium. Bring your playbook with you. He's like, I didn't know what to do. You're doing this, you're doing that, blah, blah. You're going through all this stuff. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to handle it. And he talks about his story. Kirk Cousins doesn't have to worry about going paycheck to paycheck once he's no longer in the NFL. But to sit back and be like, oh, well, if Minnesota was going to draft a quarterback high, I should have just stayed there. He goes over to Atlanta expecting that he's going to be the starting quarterback. Atlanta drafts Michael Penix. And even though they drafted Michael Penix, Kirk Cousins was still the starting quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons. He just didn't play well. That's why he got his ass benched. You got to earn your spot. That's exactly what he said, right? I've also learned in 12 years in this league that you're not entitled to anything. It's all about being able to earn your spot and prove yourself. And he didn't. Michael Penix shows up, does a better job. Kirk Cousins, hold on. On quarterback, Cousins admitted he didn't want to sit out the rest, that he didn't want to sit and rest his arm, giving way to Penix because he was sure that he wasn't sure if he'd get his job back. Quote, the information I had at the time, I made the best decision, Cousins said. You also know that if you have to sit down week 10 and make 2 or 3 weeks or more to let it heal, you may never get your job back. I remember reading Drew Brees' book back in 2010 when he first wrote it, how he made the point that he tried to never let the backup see the field. Even if it was somebody who was really no threat, he just felt like you should never do that. Doug Flutie taught him that. So that was something that I was always aware of, that in this league, if you give someone else the chance, you may get Wally pipped. And there's no Lou Gehrig behind you. That can happen all the time. And there's a Lou Gehrig behind you. That can happen all the time. That reference going all the way back to the 1920s, 1930s Yankees. Wally Pipp, the starting first baseman for the Yankees, gets hurt. Lou Gehrig becomes the starter. Lou Gehrig becomes a Hall of Famer. There's a part of me that does feel bad because, like I said, it's a business. At the end of the day, sports is always a business. We need to look at sports as like it's just business. Like you can't take any of that stuff personal. But there is a part of me that feels bad for like Kirk Cousins, right? Because I don't think Kirk Cousins was ever supposed to be what Kirk Cousins wound up being. And people have this notion, so to speak, that Kirk Cousins is like supposed to be a great quarterback. If I'm not mistaken, he was what, a third or a fourth round pick, right? He was drafted after Robert Griffin III. He's had a better career than what you could say Robert Griffin III had. Spent a lot of time in the NFL, was in MVP talks, had a great system in Minnesota, did a great job over in Minnesota. You want to see someone like go out on their own terms, as Augustine says. The only people that don't take sports as a business are the fans. I think most fans even take sports as a business now, right? Like we understand what happens with contracts. We understand, the business aspect of sports. And if anything, I think fans take it more than the players do, right? Like they look at it as more of a business than the players do, because when the players leave, we're still rooting for this piece of laundry. You know what I mean? We're still rooting for the colors. We're still rooting for that logo. Your favorite player can be unceremoniously dispatched, and you're still rooting for the Dallas Cowboys the way that I did whenever they got rid of Emmitt Smith, right? Watching Emmitt Smith in the Arizona Cardinals colors, it felt like sacrilege. But we were still dealing with it. Like we still rooted for our team, no matter how bad they were. Those early 2000s Dallas Cowboys teams. So I think fans also perceive it as a business. There's very few people that don't. Very few people that don't. Augustine Pimentel saying if that was true, there would be no Cowboys fans younger than 30. Again, like you equate everything to wins and losses. They are one of the more successful franchises in the history of the NFL, but their marketing arm is so good. Like you talk negatively about how there's bad marketing out there. The Dallas Cowboys are perfectly marketed. They are that valuable. They are that recognizable as a brand. Despite 30 years of ineptitude, despite all that stuff, like Jerry Jones is doing a great job as an owner, in my mind, as a GM as well, because he's built a team that, again, just last year, as we were entering into the season, was looked at as a Super Bowl contending team. It seems to be pretty normal that Jerry Jones puts out a contending team with the Dallas Cowboys. They haven't had the success that people would expect them to have, but very few teams do reach that success that people expect you to have. No one expected Patrick Mahomes to be this good. As a matter of fact, there were people that were like, oh my God, I can't believe the Chiefs are getting rid of Alex Smith to give Patrick Mahomes this chance. No one saw that was going to happen. No one saw that Josh Allen was going to be the guy that he was going to be. Sometimes it works for you. Sometimes it doesn't work for you. It just hasn't worked for the Dallas Cowboys. But they've done a fantastic job marketing that team, building that brand, making it so recognizable. And I think right now, the Dallas Cowboys are occupying, I'm not going to say it's like the Chicago Cubs, but they're occupying that area that the Chicago Cubs have, that you have those longtime losers that have some pretty good teams, that have some weird heartbreak losses that are in there. That's where the Dallas Cowboys are headed right now, where you get sympathy fans, right? Like you just want to see them be successful. Kind of the way that I was a few years ago with the Cleveland Browns. I wanted to see Cleveland be successful. But it just, like with the Cowboys, they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're growing the brand of the Dallas Cowboys. That's why you have such young Cowboys fans. Yes, it's the longtime losers. That's their thing. I mean, you can say that, but they also had 30 years of amazing success. Augustine was saying, wait, no, it's more of a calamity. How is it a calamity? I saw this story on ESPN and it made me wanna read it. And the headline reads, Bengals Burrow's home burglary altered Batmobile plans. And it reminded me of Joe Burrow last year getting his Batmobile. And I'm sitting back and I'm wondering to myself, what do you got to like? I remember him driving up to the stadium, driving a damn Batmobile. And like, when does it become too much money? Is that the point that it becomes too much money when you drive up to the stadium with a Batmobile? And apparently, this was also on the Netflix series Quarterback. So I'm definitely going to be watching this Netflix series. I think I haven't looked forward to a series on TV the way that I'm looking forward to watching Quarterback on Netflix. Augustine saying Cowboys fans are going to start sounding. They already do. We won in 66. Sounds like we won in 96. LOL. Okay, I mean, every team does that. You can do that with anybody, any team that won. It's so weird to me because everyone's like, oh, the Cowboys live in the past. Literally. The only team that can be like, oh, we're successful right now are the Philadelphia Eagles. They are the defending champion. Kansas City Chief fans bring it up. Sure, you had a lot of success. Guess what you're doing? You're living in the past. Even though it was 2 years ago, you're living in the past. That's what every fan base does. Augustine talking about the Patriots. You're living in the past. You can talk about them now. You say, oh, I don't think they're going to be that good, but look at all the stuff they did for me in the past. You're living in the past. We're going on a decade almost a decade since their last win in a Super Bowl. Think about that. Like all that stuff. That's what fans do. They live in the past. It's nostalgia. I don't understand why with just specific franchises it becomes a bad thing. Raiders fans haven't won since 1983. No one gives them crap for it. And you talk about a fan base that always thinks they're going to win. It's also the Raiders fans. Every fan base should think that way. Every fan base should enter the season thinking to themselves, we're going to win a Super Bowl. If not, what the hell are you there for? Unless, of course, you are the Cleveland Browns, in which case you will never, I can't say never, I don't like talking in absolutes, but you will more than likely not win a Super Bowl in the near future. If you're a Cleveland Browns fan, you're just happy to go to the stadium. I think the same thing as an Arizona Cardinals fan, right? Like if you're an Arizona Cardinals fan, August is saying, I haven't been to downtown El Paso to listen to a Raiders fan. It was always funny to me because I don't know what it is. I attract weird fan bases that come around me. And there was a guy that I was doing a high school football game broadcast with. Hardcore Raiders fan. Had the truck blacked out, had the Raiders license plate, had all that stuff. Great dude. His name is Mark. But he would constantly egg me on about the Dallas Cowboys and how the Dallas Cowboys haven't been relevant since 1995-96. We're going on 30 years of the Dallas Cowboys not winning a Super Bowl. And I would always kind of like scratch my head and I would say to myself, you're a Raiders fan. Your team hasn't won a Super Bowl since before I was born. How are you going to talk negatively about the Dallas Cowboys? The same thing with like 49ers fans. Sure, you made it to a Super Bowl. I didn't realize the goal was to only make it to the Super Bowl. I thought the goal was to win the damn thing because no one cares if you lose. Ask the Buffalo Bills. They get like a bunch of banners. We played in the Super Bowl. You think they're proud about that? Washington Commanders fans being the same way. Oh, we're so much better than the Cowboys. It's been longer since you won what ultimately matters at the end of the day. A Chargers fan coming at me once. Like, win one. Vikings fans. It's weird how Vikings fans are. Jeez. We were talking about Kirk Cousins earlier. Vikings fans. I've dealt a lot with Vikings fans, and they always, the Cowboys haven't won since this. Your team hasn't won since ever. And they're as old as the Dallas Cowboys. At least the Dallas Cowboys have given me something to cheer about. At least you can go back and say, oh, you know what? Yeah, the Cowboys won a couple of Super Bowls. What'd the Vikings do? It's always weird how some of those fan bases work. I get it if you're a rival, right? Like if you're the Eagles, maybe the Commanders, maybe the Giants. If you're those teams and you want to talk negatively about the Dallas Cowboys, I get it. I get it. Because that's your rival team. Maybe even the 49ers because there was a rivalry with the Cowboys. But if you haven't had success, and again, success is measured in how many championships you win, then why are you sitting there talking that shit? Sorry, Roku. Locally sourced DP says, I always get it from everyone when people find out I'm a Chiefs fan. Oh, I know. I know exactly how that goes. One of my best friends, James, Chiefs fan. Been a long-term Chiefs fan. I remember talking to him off the edge whenever they drafted Patrick Mahomes because we were working together at ESPN. And I said, as a Texas Tech fan, you can see the flag right there. As a Texas Tech fan, I know Patrick Mahomes is going to be pretty damn good. I was happy with the Patrick Mahomes pick. Seeing them struggle, going through the Elvis Gerbach days, the Matt Castle days, to finally getting Patrick Mahomes and being a champion. And people, oh, you jumped on the bandwagon. Our guy Gary Bryant saying, what up, Tip? What up, Gary? We were talking about fandom. Augustine, of course, coming after the Dallas Cowboys, saying how long it's been since the Dallas Cowboys have won themselves a championship. Look, we get it. It's been a while. It's been a long time. They shouldn't have left you without a dope beat to step to. But instead, the Dallas Cowboys are still a great marketed team. You want to talk about why they have a fan base that's so young? One, most fans follow the team of their parents. And two, the Dallas Cowboys have great marketing. They make that stadium a destination spot. No matter how bad the team might be, it's still sold out all the time. That brand is so recognizable. You know that star when you see that star. Getting me heated talking about that. I didn't even want to talk about the Dallas Cowboys today. I love my Dallas Cowboys, but we don't have to talk about them all the time. If you want to, I'm fine with it. You bring them up. I'm going to say you're a closet Cowboys fan. You love them. Gary Bryant saying, Augustine, the 49ers haven't won a championship since 1994, but everyone talks about how long it's been since the Cowboys haven't won. That's exactly what we were talking about. And look at this. Again, maybe I look at sports a different way than most people. And of course, once again, the old lame jokes. Yes, we see the star. That's a 1-star rating. Ha 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 ha. Tommy Canazza saying we need to talk about them every day, Tip. I'm still waiting on you to tell me whenever you're available. You want to do a Cowboys podcast? I'm down. We got to find like hardcore Cowboys fans, and we'll just get a round table. Do a El Paso only podcast or an El Paso centric podcast for Cowboys fans. We got to find like where there's a Cowboys fan club and make that our place where we go watch the games from now on. Gary Bryant saying he's down. I saw a video yesterday that I thought was really cool. It was Micah Parsons sumo wrestling, like going up against a sumo wrestler. And Micah Parsons gets thrown out the first time. And he's like, no, we're going to run it back. We're going to run it back. We're going to get this. And he goes right at that sumo wrestler and then does one of those power rush moves that you see him do so many times, and pushes him. Pushes that sumo wrestler out. Anytime you can see an NFL player overpower a sumo wrestler, you know that dude has got some drive to him, some power to him. You pay that guy. Dallas Cowboys, pay that guy. You already know my conspiracy. I think the contract is already worked out. They're just waiting for the day to announce it. That's why you don't see a lot of drama coming out of the Cowboys camp. They just like people talking about them. It's always going to be a story in the background. But you got to pay that man. You got to pay that man. Tommy Canazza saying, I got a page full of them. Yes, you do. You do got a page full of them. I always forget about that. I gotta go check that page out. It's been a little while. It's been a couple of weeks since I was on there. The True Blue Nation. Got to check that out. So, okay. Watching Micah Parsons do that, watching Micah Parsons dominate, just absolutely dominate a sumo wrestler, showed me that I'm in, right? Like I always see those things. I like going back to the draft, right? Watching those videos where you got people just excited to be there on the Dallas Cowboys, watching all that stuff, watching Micah Parsons, watching some of the practice video. It's got me in. It's got me going. And I'm ready for it, man. Like I'm ready for the season to start. And it feels like right now, as we're getting to training camp, as we're doing all these things, we're getting just the tip of it.
I just want to put the tip in.
It's time for
Just the Tip.
That would make me uncomfortable.
Promise that it ain't too much, but just enough. Just a tip. Just a tip.
Just the tip. Just the tip.
It's time for Just the Tip.
Just the Tip is brought to you by our friends over at www.myhappynuts.com. Check out www.myhappynuts.com. Take care of yourself, guys. Male grooming is in. You got to make sure you're smelling good, you're looking good, you're feeling good. Take care of yourself from your pits to your tip with the My Happy Nuts whole body deodorant, the comfort cream. No more of that stanky leg. You ain't got to worry about doing that stanky leg to make sure you're not sticking together. Go out there, www.myhappynuts.com. Use promo code Mike Tipton at checkout. Save on all your male grooming needs. Don't do it for me. Don't do it for yourself. Don't do it for the people in your life. Do it for America. Do it because you love where you are. Probably should have done that before 4th of July. That just popped in my head. That's the way that we're going to do it. We're taking care of our nuts for the country, for the good of the country. We got to take care of ourselves. Okay. So over the last couple of weeks, man, it's been 6 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever it is, a little over a month. We've been going division by division. Which teams are going to be the best in these divisions? We went over the AFC East. We said that it was going to be the Buffalo Bills, the top team there. I think that the Patriots are going to be the second place team there, making the Miami Dolphins fall back just a little bit. Tua Tagovailoa, the number 93 or 91, whatever it was number that he was, where he doesn't belong in that list of the top 100. I am pushing back against all the Tua love that's out there for whatever reason. I'm not thinking that the Miami Dolphins are going to be that good this year. So I got Buffalo there. Baltimore coming out of the NFC North, along with Cincinnati being the second place team there. AFC North, rather. We spoke about the AFC West. Kansas City, I still think the cream of the crop, but I think the gap between them and number 2, Denver, is going to be much smaller than what it's been over the last couple of seasons. Out of the AFC South, still a dumpster fire, still Houston's division to win. We said it on the show, and I hope that everyone agrees with me on this. Our number 2 team this year and going forward is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars. I am a glutton for pain, as Augustine would say. It's also because the Jacksonville Jaguars PR people have been really good to me, so I'm just, I support the people that support me. So we're going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think they're going to be the number 2 team in the division. Hopefully we can go to London. That's what all this is about. You guys support the Jaguars so I can go to London. Oh, man, what a selfish thing to do. That would be funny, though. That would be hilarious. It would be perfect for this show. It'd give me enough time to actually sleep and prep to do a show if I was in London. So that would be fun. Then we spoke last week about the NFC South. Still Tampa Bay's division, but I got a lot of faith in Michael Penix Jr. and Kirk Cousins, the quarterbacks of the Atlanta Falcons. I like what Atlanta's doing. I think Atlanta's going to be on the come up. And again, either one of those teams can win the division with 9 wins. It's going to be a bad division to watch because the Saints and the Panthers are just absolute garbage juice. But at least you have the Saints, or not the Saints, the Falcons and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So today we're going to the NFC West. And in the NFC West, you have the Arizona Cardinals, the LA Rams, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Seattle Seahawks. We're going to start with Arizona because I don't believe Arizona is going to be a very good team. Whenever you look at everything the Arizona Cardinals did, whether that was free agency, whether that was the draft, whether it was whatever it was, let's look at the stuff that they happened here. They lose depth. That's really what they didn't lose any stars in free agency, but they lost some depth. They lose Roy Lopez, a defensive tackle. They lose Chris Tonga, a defensive tackle. They lose Dennis Gardeck, an outside linebacker. Naquan Jones, another defensive tackle. Jesus Christ, how many defensive tackles did they have? Zach Pascal, a wide receiver, going over to the Giants. Julian Okarwa, an outside linebacker, is gone. They lose another outside linebacker. They lose an offensive lineman. They lose a left tackle. But again, none of these guys are huge stars on the team. It's all depth, but you need depth. You have to have depth. What they go out and do in free agency, though? They go out and they get Josh Sweat from the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending champion Philadelphia Eagles, give him a 4-year, $76.4 million deal, 19.1 AAV, helping out that defensive line. They lost 3 defensive tackles. What do? They go out and they sign a defensive tackle from the Cleveland Browns in Dalvin Tomlinson, give him $29 million over 2 years. They go and they get a backup quarterback, Jacoby Brissett, because you always have to worry a little bit about Kyler Murray, whether or not he's going to be able to stay healthy. I like Jacoby Brissett as a backup quarterback. They get Calais Campbell, bringing him back to the franchise from one last season on a 1-year, $5 million deal. I like Calais Campbell. I'm sure he can create pressure and do all that stuff to help them have a slightly better defensive line. They bring in Akeem Davis-Gaither from the Cincinnati Bengals. Then adding depth, outside linebacker Michael Williams from the Washington Commanders, Semi Fioco from the former Dallas Cowboy, but this last season was with the LA Chargers. Royce Newman, an offensive lineman. Jalen Jones, a safety. Jack Curhan, an offensive lineman. Josiah DeGora, a tight end. And again, it's all just a little bit of depth. A little bit of depth is what they're going for. They made some big splashes in free agency, getting Josh Sweat. Looking at what Arizona did in the NFL draft, they lost a defensive tackle. They lost a lot of depth. They went out, they re-signed, or they signed Dalvin Tomlinson from the Cleveland Browns. What do? They go out and they get arguably one of the best defensive linemen out there in Walter Nolan from Ole Miss. Huge pickup for them, helping out the defensive line. Looks like they're focusing in all on defense here. They're asking, could he be a day one starter? Of course he's going to be a day one starter. They're going to have a pretty solid defensive line where you have Walter Nolan, Dalvin Tomlinson, Josh Sweat, and Calais Campbell. Looks like a pretty decent defensive line there. It's just going to be all about depth. All about depth. In the second round, they go and they get Will Johnson, a cornerback out of Michigan. Once again, helping out the defense. Adding to the depth in the third round, they get Jordan Birch, a defensive tackle out of Oregon, helping out the defense. In the fourth round, they get a linebacker, Cody Simon out of Ohio State, focusing in on defense. Fifth round, Denzel Burke, cornerback out of Ohio State. In the sixth round, they address the offensive line. Terrible time to address the offensive line unless all you want is depth here. I'm going to, because Bistrilla did this for me, he made me want to see what teams had the best offensive lines, because we were talking about the Falcons last week. And he said the Falcons had a really good offensive line. I don't know if I believe that. Trying to find where the Arizona Cardinals offensive line is here on PFF. Because they have, I don't know if I agree with this, because they have the Dallas Cowboys. I like the Dallas Cowboys offensive line. I know they have them as a number 23 rated offensive line, but I feel like they're going to be better than the 23rd offensive line. The Arizona Cardinals, the number 16 offensive line. So you're adding depth whenever you get Hayden Connor from Texas. Then you finish off your draft getting Keaton Crawford, a safety out of Nevada. Defense, 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 defense. That's what the Arizona Cardinals were focusing on this last season. I look at them offensively, and sure, you got Marvin Harrison Jr. Kyler Murray's back there, and it always feels like Kyler Murray's under pressure, that he's under some sort of duress. It always feels that way with Kyler Murray. I don't feel like the Arizona Cardinals to me, it should have been addressing the offensive line. And I don't know if I should trust these power rankings on PFF, but PFF knows what they're doing. PFF knows what they're looking for. I would just say the Dallas Cowboys offensive line is better than the 23rd offensive line in the NFL, especially now, especially following the draft. Did Arizona do enough? I still don't look at them as a good team. We're going to check out the Arizona Cardinals schedule. Let's see how many games we have the Cardinals winning this year. I've been making fun of them as like they're going to be a bad team all year round. I still firmly believe that they're going to be a bad team all year round. In the regular season, they open up the season against the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans is a bad team. Man, these first couple of games we're looking at, this is just bad teams. And you already know how I feel. I just see my guy Evan George tuning into the show. Shout out to you, Evan. Can't wait to see the documentary, the movie that you are directing. Can't wait to see your directorial debut. These first couple of games for the Cardinals, man, bad team with bad team is going to equal fun game, especially early in the season. Arizona and New Orleans, that's at New Orleans. I think we said New Orleans is going to win that game, so we're going to go with New Orleans winning that one. You're 0-1. You got the Carolina Panthers here. You win against the Carolina Panthers. That's at home. You're 1-1 on the season. San Francisco, you're probably going to lose to that, so you're 1-2 on the season. You're going to lose to Seattle. You're 1-3 on the season through 4 games. The Tennessee Titans, that's a bad team, but you're also a bad team. Bad plus bad equals fun football. Maybe you win that game. You're 2-3 on the season through 5. The Indianapolis Colts, Jesus Christ, this is a garbage schedule. I don't even want to go through this. Like it's bad. I have a bad taste in my mouth from this. Maybe you beat the Colts, you're 3-3 on the season. You lose against the Green Bay Packers, you're 3-4 on the season. You lose against the Dallas Cowboys, you're 3-5 on the season. You lose against the Seattle Seahawks, you're 3-6 on the season. You lose against the San Francisco 49ers. You're 3-7 on the season now. You beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, maybe, but this isn't your grandpa's Jacksonville Jaguars. This is our Jacksonville Jaguars. Still more than likely win that game. So you're 4-7 on the season through 11 games. Tampa Bay, you're probably going to lose to. 4-8 through 12 games. The LA Rams, you're going to lose to. 4-9. The Houston Texans, you're going to lose to. 4-10. The Atlanta Falcons, you're probably going to lose to as well. 4-11. The Cincinnati Bengals, you are going to lose to. And the LA Rams, you're going to lose to. 4-13. 4-13. Maybe best case scenario for the Arizona Cardinals is that they can get 6 wins in there, maybe. Maybe they split with the Rams. Maybe they win some of these division games. I don't see them beating San Francisco twice. I don't see them beating Seattle twice. Maybe they split some of these division games. Best case scenario, 6 wins. Worst case scenario, 4 wins. You're still drafting up towards the top. That was such a garbage schedule to go through, especially those first couple of weeks. Jesus. Trash with the Saints, trash with the Panthers, trash with the 49ers, trash with the Titans, trash with the Colts. 5 out of their first 6 games are just going to be unbearable games to watch. I'm an Arizona Cardinals fan. I'm punting on this season. Woof. That was a tough one to watch. That was a tough one to go through. I wasn't expecting their schedule to be that damn bad. that was tough for me to go through. We're going to go over to now the LA Rams. The LA Rams had themselves a pretty good offseason. They lose Cooper Kupp. They lose their defensive tackle, Michael Brown, or Bobby Brown, rather. They lose a couple of players here, depth guys, once again. Michael Hokek, Demarcus Robinson. They lose some depth guys, Neville Gallimore. But they sign wide receiver Devontae Adams. They sign him to a 2-year, $44 million deal. How's he going to do? You got Matt Stafford there. So, again, with the way this division kind of played out, it seems like it's the Rams' division to lose, right? Like you've got so much going on with the LA Rams. They bring in Poona Ford, a defensive tackle from the Chargers. Imagine that. You're a free agent. You go from the Chargers to the Rams. You get to stay in the same place, even play in the same stadium. You don't have to worry about a damn thing. They address their offensive linemen, getting some depth along the offensive line, bringing in Coleman Shelton and DJ Humphries. David Quisenberry, once again, just depth along that offensive line. Then they bring in depth along the defense with a few of their signings. Bring in Ronnie Rivers, they re-sign him. Britton Covey, they re-sign him. Just depth for the LA Rams. I like the Devontae Adams signing, along with Puka Nacua. Like, you got yourself a possession receiver with Devontae Adams. They didn't have a first-round pick, so in the second round, they draft a tight end, and that's what I was going to say they needed. You need tight end help. They get Terrence Ferguson, a tight end out of Oregon. They got Tyler Higbee. They got Colby Parkinson. They got Davis Allen. But it seems like they finally got themselves a little better, a more athletic tight end. I like that signing for the LA Rams. Good draft pick for the LA Rams, who didn't have a first-round draft pick. In the third round, you bring in a linebacker, Josiah Stewart, to help you out. Fourth round, you bring in Warquez Hunter, a running back out of Auburn. In the fifth round, Ty Hamilton, a defensive tackle out of Ohio State. Chris Paul Jr., a linebacker out of Ole Miss. And then you bring in a wide receiver, Konata Mumpfield, out of Pittsburgh. That's what they needed. Tight end, wide receiver, offensive line help, defensive line help, helping out the defense, doing all that stuff. You're already the cream of the crop when it comes to this division. You look at Pro Football ranking, they had the 15th best offensive line. They went out and they helped out the offensive line. They got some depth along the offensive line to help out that offense. You got a revolving door of offensive linemen to help you out there. We will check out the LA Rams schedule here. Opening the preseason against the Dallas Cowboys. That's a loss. Week 1 taking on the Houston Texans. That's going to be at SoFi. I'm calling that a win for the LA Rams. 1-0 on the season. Tennessee Titans, 2-0 on the season. The Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia, you were 2-1 on the season. The Indianapolis Colts, you were 3-1 on the season. You have the San Francisco 49ers in SoFi, you were 4-1 on the season. The Baltimore Ravens in Week 6, you are 4-2 on the season. The Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 7, you are 5-2 on the season through 7 games. 5-2. New Orleans Saints, you were 6-2. San Francisco 49ers, let's say you split with them. I think they're more than likely going to sweep the series, but let's just say football happens, you sweep with them. You are now 6-3 on the season. The Seattle Seahawks, this is in SoFi, we say you beat the Seahawks. You are 7-3 on the season through 10 games. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at SoFi, you beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think you're slightly better than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You are now 8-3 through 11 games. You beat the Carolina Panthers, you are 9-3. You beat the Arizona Cardinals, you are 10-3. You lose against Detroit. Detroit, to me, is going to be a fun team to watch this year, despite all the players that have left. You are now 10-4. Split against the Seahawks is what we said was going to happen. This is in Lumen Field up in Seattle. You are 10-5 through week 16. You beat the Atlanta Falcons, even though this game is in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. You are 11-5. You beat the Arizona Cardinals 12-5. Finish the season 12-5. I can see that for the Rams. Worst case scenario, 11-6, 10-7. I can't see them being a 10-7 team. I like their schedule. I think it plays out to help them out a lot. The games I feel are going to be definite losses are against the Ravens and against the Eagles, along with the Lions. So far we have the Rams as a 12-win team. I wasn't expecting the Rams to be a 12-win team. We got about 10 minutes left. We're going to power through the San Francisco 49ers. They had themselves a mass exodus of players. They lose Aaron Banks along the offensive line. They lose Travarius Ward in the defense. They lose Jason Hargrave on the defensive line. They lose Jalen Moore on the offensive line. They lose so much on defense. Did they replace anybody? And you look at some of the names that you have here, who they bring in. Luke Farrell from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Quarterback Mac Jones. That's going to be your backup quarterback just in case something happens to Brock Purdy. You bring in DeMarcus Robinson to help out because you lost Deebo Samuel. You re-sign Kyle Juszczyk. And then it's just a bunch of guys to fill out the roster because you were going to pay Brock Purdy what you're paying Brock Purdy. Because you're paying Christian McCaffrey what you're paying Christian McCaffrey. It doesn't seem like it's going to be a good season for the 49ers, but who knows? They might catch lightning in the bottle. They might have something up their sleeve. So let's see what we've got here. You got Seattle in week 1. Whoa, we're not doing that. You got Seattle in week 1. Loss, because that's going to be in Seattle. New Orleans Saints, more than likely a win. You're 1-1. Arizona Cardinals, that's going to be in Levi Stadium at home. Their first home game for the 49ers. You beat the Arizona Cardinals. You were 2-1 on the season. The Jacksonville Jaguars, you were 3-1 on the season. You lose to the LA Rams. You're 3-2. You lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You were 3-3. You lose to the Atlanta Falcons. You were 3-4. You lose to the Houston Texans. You were 3-5. You beat the New York Giants. You were 4-5. You lose to the LA Rams. You were 4-6. You beat the Arizona Cardinals because they are absolute dog water. Although we did say there could be a split right there, but we won't say there's a split right now. You beat Arizona. You were 5-6 on the season. You beat the Carolina Panthers. You're 6-6. You beat the Cleveland Browns. You were 7-6. You beat the Tennessee Titans. You were 8-6. You beat the Colts. You were 9-6. Chicago's going to be a fun team to watch. I think they beat the San Francisco 49ers. You are 9-7. You lose to Seattle. You are 9-8. Best case scenario for the 49ers, I didn't expect it to be this good, but best case scenario for the 49ers is 9-10 wins. More than likely will be around the 8-win threshold, I think. We're going to power through the Seattle Seahawks. Let's see. Let's see if the Seahawks can make it into second place here. Free agency, they bring in Sam Darnold. They bring in Cooper Kupp. They bring in DeMarcus Lawrence from the Dallas Cowboys. They bring in Marquez Valdez-Scantling, helping out that offense, helping out that defense. You would have thought you lost something with Geno Smith. Maybe you've got something. Maybe you've got something there with Sam Darnold, who might have figured it out last year with the Minnesota Vikings. You just lose a couple of guys, Roy Robertson Harris, like you just lose depth guys. What do you do in the draft? You bring in Gray Zabel to help out the offensive line. Great job there helping out the offensive line. You bring in a safety, Nick Imanwari. You bring him in from South Carolina. You bring in a tight end, more than likely a blocking tight end. I like Noah Fant. I know people are soured on him. I like Noah Fant. But they bring in a tight end out of Miami, Elijah Arroyo. Jalen Milroe to be your backup quarterback. Riley Mills, a defensive end out of Notre Dame. Troy Horton, a wide receiver out of Colorado State. Robbie Oates out of fullback out of Alabama. More than likely just going to use him as a blocking tight end. Bryce Cabledew, a guard out of Kansas. Damian Martinez, a running back out of Miami. I know Tommy Canonso was big on Damian Martinez. I'd like to see what he can do. I think he's going to get a little bit of playing time. Mason Rickman out of Iowa, helping out the offensive line depth, and then bringing in Ricky White III, a wide receiver out of UNLV. Doing what they got to do. Helping out the offense, helping out the defense. Let's check out that schedule. Powering through it. Will the Seattle Seahawks be good this season? Will they be better than the San Francisco 49ers? Win against San Francisco to open up the season. Win against Pittsburgh in game 2 of the season. You're 2-0. You beat New Orleans 3-0, 4-0 against the Arizona Cardinals. This is going to be an interesting game. You're at home. Do I really have them going 5-0 to start the season? 6-0 against the Jacksonville Jaguars? Wow. We'll have them lose to Tampa Bay. I can't see them going 6-0, so we'll have them go 5-1. That's an easy start to the season, 5-1. Against Houston, that's going to be an interesting game. I have Houston losing this game. So you were 6-1 on the season. You lose against Washington. I like Washington this year. You are 6-2 on the season. You beat Arizona because you're more than likely going to sweep that. Arizona's not good, guys. 7-2 on the season. You lose against the Rams because I think the Rams are going to split with you, and the Rams are at home. And here's 7-3. You beat Tennessee 8-3. Minnesota, this is going to be an interesting team, but you're more than likely going to beat Minnesota. Wow. Atlanta, you beat Atlanta. Indianapolis, you can beat Indianapolis. There's your split at home with the Rams, Carolina, and San Francisco. Best case scenario here is that the Seattle Seahawks can win 11 or 12 games, so they're going to be right up there with the LA Rams. I think, after looking at this schedule, I think I'm going to change my mind. I think Seattle's going to win this division, guys. I really feel like Seattle's going to win this division. We'll talk more about it tomorrow because I'm up against the clock. Probably spent too much time on the San Francisco 49ers. Probably shouldn't have done that. But I appreciate everyone for tuning into today's show. We will see you all tomorrow. Have yourself a great Tuesday. We'll catch you on Wednesday. Have a great day, everybody.